Well, we are wrapping up our Q&A session with Ben Grandin from the NC Cooperative Extension. He's been answering all of your fall planting questions to help maximize your garden heading into the winter, Ben. So let's answer some of our viewer questions here. Are there any kind of mums that will last all year round?
So a lot of mums will last all year round. They're not going to have their flowers throughout the winter, though. They flower typically throughout the Halloween season. They might hold on to them for another month or so, but they probably will lose their flowers. But they should hold on as far as staying alive throughout the winter if they're in a good area where they have dry feet. A lot of times when the roots get really, really wet, they do start rotting and they do deteriorate over those winter seasons.
Okay. Our next question, what do you recommend to deter deer and squirrels from destroying the garden, which I'm sure is pretty
Mhm.
frustrating?
I always say good fences make good neighbors. You can put up a deer fence 4 to 6 feet high. You can even put a little electric cord or a hot wire on that fence to try to deter them a little bit. But without a good fence, there's not a lot of products that are super efficacious to keep those deer away. They sell a lot of them, but a lot of them you do have to apply every time it rains. And the deer are gonna find your favorite plant every single time. So I always say good fences make good neighbors.
Okay. I have two ghost pepper plants in separate containers. I'd like to keep them over the winter. I have an outbuilding. Can I winterize them? And if so, how?
Mhm. So ghost peppers are perennial. We can overwinter them. It's great that you already have them in a container. You simply take it into a warm spot. If that outbuilding is able to stay, above 40, 45 degrees during the coldest of the cold nights, then you can keep them out there. I would recommend having a little light out there. There's lots of cheap, efficient grow lights out there that you can simply put over the plants during the daytime to give them a little bit of light, not too much light, not too much water, but if you can keep them warm, you can definitely overwinter them and they'll start producing wonderfully starting April and May.
Okay. Our next question, how do you get rid of ivy growing everywhere and up trees?
Ivy's tricky. There are certain types of ivy that does root in. Those I do like to pull off the tree physically as much as I can without doing too much damage to the bark. I like to cut it and separate it from the ground, and then a small application, depending on what type of tree it is, a small application, a Roundup or some other kind of herbicide could knock that back and really get into the root system, stop it from spreading.
Okay. Someone said here, how can we, I think maybe cut our sweet potatoes if we are just a small garden and no greenhouse?
As far as starting sweet potatoes,
I believe so.
okay. Starting sweet potatoes is really easy. Typically, I store the sweet potatoes over the winter time. Come about June, May, I take those, I put them in a small glass of water or bury them in a small container. Let those sprouts naturally come up. Once the sprouts come up, I separate it from the mother plant, put it in a little bit of soil, or I put it directly in the ground where I want to have those sweet potatoes for next year.
Okay. Next question here. Can you plant red bud trees in the fall?
Yes.
Okay.
Typically, I like to plant most stuff during the winter time. Red buds are fine to plant. They're very native to this, or they're very acclimated to this area, so they should be fine.
Okay. And we have about 3 minutes here, and you all have a few upcoming events to help people with their green thumbs. I want you to be able to talk about that. So you can go ahead and share that.
Perfect. So we got two main educational courses coming up starting in around February. The first one is the North Carolina Small Farm Boot Camp. Small Farm Boot Camp's really designed for those that want to take their gardening to the next level, try to start getting towards that more commercial area where they're either selling at farmers markets or local restaurants, but really starting to produce more than the small garden typically is. It's an 8 week program, and we'll cover all the basics of learning how to grow fruits and vegetables. We cover a little bit of livestock as far as backyard chickens and goats. And it's a really good program to beef up your knowledge so you can take that next step into the commercial world. Then we have a more advanced class called the North Carolina Farm School. It's also a multi-week program every other week for about 3 months. And that really teaches you the business side of farming.
Mm.
What records to keep, what kind of tax implications you have, generating income from farming practices, and things like that. So those two programs are really designed to people to get into the industry, start up entrepreneurial opportunities, and really put them with their best foot forward.
And I can imagine too, it's a great opportunity to meet other folks out there that have a passion for gardening. I'm sure you've probably seen connections made out there.
And it's a wonderful thing. There's a lot of times we get more experienced farmers to work as mentors for these new upcoming ventures. A lot of times, farmers love talking about what they do. They're extremely passionate individuals. So I always recommend the newcomers to introduce themselves to somebody at a farmer's market that's already been doing it. Ask them honest questions. What's the upside? What's the downside of getting into this particular crop or this particular market? And there's lots of good people around here with farming background to help you get off to the right start.
All right, Ben, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. It's been my
And if you missed any of this segment, you can rewatch the discussion in the Two Wants to Know section on our website.